Good morning, friends, and welcome back to the online learning platform at Department of Civil Engineering. I'm Rajesh Gopinath, and once again, we are together for the course on occupational health and safety. If you recollect, in the previous session, we had an understanding of environmental management system, in which basically we were trying to understand the environmental management planning. In today's class, we shall try to have an understanding with respect to the relevance, the significance, and the introductory aspects of personal protective equipment, or also called as personal protective gear. So, I will take you through to the norms, the responsibilities with respect to employer, employee, okay, and yes, this presentation will conclude with types of PPE, which will continue from the next session onwards. And then I shall summarize and list the references for your kind perusal. I request all of you to observe very carefully at this image and have a look at this gentleman who is working on equipment which has moving parts. Look at him, how he has equipped himself to handle this machinery. Does he have any kind of safety gear? Look at his palm, look at his legs, look at his face, look at his head. So probably by the end of this presentation, you will be the best person to tell me whether this person is doing the right way or not with respect to occupational health and safety. So friends, basically, when we need to avoid any hazard, okay, if in case we need to give priority to the health of a worker, safety of a worker, there are many ways of doing it. You can go by engineering controls. You can achieve it through proper work practices, that is safe work practices. You can have proper administrative controls in place. Of course, you can speak about substitution or elimination. However, when nothing works, the only thing that keeps you protected is your personal protective equipment. Friends, basically when we say elimination, the best way to protect a worker is to eliminate in totality the potential threat, the hazard or risk which is existing in your workplace. Now, if in case you are unable to achieve elimination of the hazard, then what you can do is you can go for substitution. Now, substitution is wherein you try to replace an existing hazard with a hazard which is probably less hazardous. Okay, if you're unable to achieve elimination, which is the best way, then you try to go for substitution. Even if in case substitution does not work, then you try to go for your engineering controls. Now what happens in engineering controls? Okay, you start isolating people. You have to make sure that there is a sufficient distance from the person and the hazard. All right. Now, if in case you're unable to even engage engineering controls, then you need to also go for administrative controls. So probably with rules in place, policies in place, you should be able to make sure that safety is a top priority. Having said all this, very good work practices. Have a look at the screen. Okay, that image clearly depicts of how you can do a work in a correct manner and an incorrect manner. Please understand, it's not just about doing a work in a correct manner and incorrect manner. Rather, it's about how an action of doing a work in a wrong manner can get you hurt. So friends, what I would like to tell you here is, when none of your measures are in place, that is elimination, substitution, good work practices, engineering controls, administrative controls, when none of these are in place, the only thing that can protect you, the only thing that can protect the worker from harm is the PPE, the personal protective equipment. So basically the personal protective equipment is being designed. Okay, it has been created so that all the employees, all the workers can be protected from any injuries and illness. The injury may be serious or moderate or acute, irrespective of that. And these injuries or illnesses can happen due to hazards, which could be having a nature related to chemical, radiological, physical, mechanical, electrical, or anything else. Okay, so PP is the only thing which can protect you. Basically, it behaves like a barrier. Okay, it behaves like a barrier between the hazard and the route of entry. Please understand one thing. Personal protective equipments will not eliminate the hazard. All it does is it protects you if the hazard exists. Okay, at the same time, now what we need to understand is, what if in case your personal protective equipments fail to work? In that case, the threat will be much greater. Having said this, please understand, PPE is not a substitute. You need to ensure that all other practices, that is safe work practices, elimination, substitution, administrative and engineering controls, all of them must be in place. When none of these are in place, then PPE is the last thing that you can look forward to. Now, let me try to explain the same concept in the present context. Presently, we are all in the era of COVID-19. Okay? There is also a joke which is running around. What happens in 2021 depends on what certain people eat in their country. Now, you can definitely not stop what other people are doing in other nations, whether it is their labs or whether it is their markets or whether it is their house. Definitely it is not in your control, right? So in other words, you cannot eliminate it. Friends, elimination is the best way of removing a hazard, protecting a worker. But look at COVID-19. Elimination is not possible. Okay, you are not even able to substitute. We cannot talk about substituting the novel coronavirus with any other lesser harmful virus. That's not the way out. Okay, now then what actually works? Yes, you can start isolating people from hazards. Let us say you talk about good ventilation. You speak about not using your air conditioners. Okay, you speak about physical distancing. You speak about creating physical barriers between people. Okay, yes, if you're able to do engineering control, if you can isolate the people, if you can, increase the distance between the people and the threat, that also can work. Now, we are also talking about lockdown. So, policies, administrative controls, okay, how we work, all that also brings in. Now, please understand, some things are voluntary, some things are enforced upon us. But if none of these are effective, what is that which is most effective? Personal protective equipment. So something which is least effective becomes most effective when the previous means and measures are ineffective. I believe that with this example of COVID-19, you would be able to understand the real value of having masks or double layered masks or different types of masks on your face. Having said this, definitely, whether you're taken vaccine or not, okay, masks are mandatory and social distancing is a big necessity. Let's move further. Friends, different countries have different standards. India also has. But since, as per your curriculum, I have been restricted to speaking about the norms with respect to OSHA, I would like to tell you that any legal document you open in the context of safety, environmental policies, okay, you will always find certain amendments, you will find articles, you will find clauses, you will find sub-clauses, you will find titles, you will find definitions. Okay, in simple words, my dear friends, what we need to understand from this simple slide is these documents, these acts, okay, these standards, they actually behave like a guideline, like a reference for any industry who is indulged in any activity where a hazard or threat can exist, where an accident can occur. So not only will these standards make it very clear to the industry that what are the safe work practices, what are the safety equipments that an industry must have. Not just that, the industry is also obliged and any non-compliance will be severely dealt with. Okay, please understand the standards with respect to OSHA can vary from industry to industry. So let us say you talk about the construction industry or your pharmaceutical industry or your firefighting industries, For everything there are standards, and these standards have to be referred and put into place. Okay, now for a simple screenshot, if you look at CFR 1910-132, I'm talking with respect to OSHA, United States. If you open the document, it gives clear instructions to an employer, okay, that he has to do hazard assessment. He needs to provide proper PPE to every employee. That document also says that employer is obliged to carry out training. Okay, now friends, mostly when you speak about OSHA, United States of America follows ANSI standards, that is American National Standards Institute norms. Now, what are the responsibilities with respect to an employer? Now, yes, it is a mandate that employer must provide PPE to every worker. And it is not merely providing a PPE. It should be the most appropriate PPE. Okay. The employer must make it very clear that safety is a prime concern, and the employee also must consider that as his or her prime concern. Wearing a PPE is actually mandatory part of the requirement. Employer is also obliged to give training, hands-on training. So anyone who is fresh at the workplace, who is new to the workplace, training is mandatory on how to use the PPE. At the same time, please be careful. See, you are very well aware of, changing jobs, makeshift jobs, attritions. So it's always possible that, one worker jumps the job and joins a new company. But that doesn't mean that this person who has undergone training in the previous company need not be trained. That person also has to be retrained. I repeat, retraining is extremely important. And why is that? Because when a person has changed his job, of course, there is a change in the workplace. There will be definitely change in the kind of machineries. There would be definitely change in the types of PPE which are being used. At the same time, we cannot be sure of how knowledgeable that worker is with respect to use of PPE. And having said this, documentation is extremely important. When did you carry out the training? Who carried out the training? How many employees were trained? Okay, you must have photographic, videographic documentation. What was the nature of training? All these documents have to be kept in place. Eventually, at the end of training, the workers, the employee must be able to demonstrate how well they have understood training. Please remember, my dear friends, failure to understand how PPE works just does not endanger that individual worker's life, but it can also endanger his colleagues, her colleagues. Now, employer is required to sensitize the employee, okay, make it very clear in all possible manners, to remind the worker, to instruct the worker, to warn the worker, to caution the worker about the real value of PPE. Now, it could be in the form of certain displays, it can be in the form of inspections, it can be in the form of certain display boards. Please understand, wearing a PPE is a mandate. It is the regular duty of any employee. That is how the employer has to convey it. And any failure, then the employer can take disciplinary actions. And probably, it's also possible that that individual may lose his eligibility for compensation if in case an accident takes place. The employer is also obliged to keep records of every incident, every training. The employer must carry out internal audit and external audit. Please understand, the objective is very clear. The effectiveness of using a PPT, the effectiveness of using the correct PPT will make sure that even if there is a hazard, the accident, okay, would not endanger the life. And the other way, then the entire purpose is lost. Please understand that hazard assessment is very important. An employer must take the services of an expert and try to understand what are the existing hazards in that work environment. in the shop floor. Because if you do not identify that, how would you get to know what are the type of safety gears that I need to provide? And please understand, every individual comes in different sizes. So you cannot have, just one particular size of PPE for everyone. For instance, okay, maybe the height factor, the waist dimension factor, okay, the weight factor, all these matters. So it's all about giving the right PPE to the right worker. Okay. Now, what are the responsibilities of an employee? First and foremost, it is employee's prime concern that when he or she reports to work, he or she will definitely wear the PPE and wear the right kind of PPE and wear it properly. In case if the employee has not been provided a PPE, he must request and demand this information to the supervisor. The worker should also know what kind of PPE he or she is supposed to wear. The worker should also know that PPE comes with limitations. PPE is only protecting you. But if an hazard exists, okay, he or she should understand that PPE cannot eliminate the hazard. PPE can only protect you if the hazard results in an incident. The employee should know how to take care of the PPE, how to wear it, how to use it, okay, how to maintain it, and when the right time comes, how to dispose it safely. In other words, my dear friends, employee cannot undertake repair of a PPE. Imagine a mask in a medical industry. If the mask has been torn, you cannot go about restitching it. It would not serve the purpose. Okay, having said all this, proper sanitary maintenance is very important if you want the PPE to be in a reliable condition. Otherwise, it does not work. The moment you find out that your PPE has got torn or it has broken or there's a small crack, it should not be taken lightly. This defect should be immediately reported to the supervisor, and you or he or she shall not undertake the work unless a replacement has given to you. Please make sure that the PP is always in a very good working condition. The employee should understand one thing: PPE is given for his or her protection. It should not be thought as an inconvenience. Now, most of us, when we are wearing masks, okay, let us say, some of us are spectacled. Okay, we do understand certain inconveniences wherein there is formation of mist on the specs. Now, at the same time, we just cannot ignore the mask. We should not consider the PPE as an inconvenience to us, because when the accident occurs, PPE is the only thing that could have protected us. Employee in no way can sign any agreement with any employer saying that I take complete risk of not wearing the PPE. It is not possible. It definitely does not exist. Okay, so with this brief information on what are the responsibilities of an employee, let us move forward. What did we learn today? We understood the hierarchy of controls: elimination, substitution, engineering controls, administrative controls, good working, safe working practices, and of course PPE. And we also understood what are the apt, desired, mandated responsibilities of an employee and an employer. Now, I am sure that when we speak about PPE, it is not just restricted to any one of us who's working in an industry. Even in our day-to-day life, this is mandatory. Okay, so next time when you see somebody riding a bike, okay, if the helmet is hanging from the handle, then it means that the PP is not being properly used. And had that helmet been used, in the event of a slip or a accident, a head injury could have been potentially avoided. Please remember one thing: the PPE is provided by the supervisor, facilitated by the employer. Employer takes the complete responsibility for the provision. The employee need not buy it. It is the responsibility of the employer to provide it at free of cost. And all these are audited, all these are noted. And please understand, inspection is not merely It is not merely for the employer. Inspection is also for the employee. For instance, probably during the inspection, they can ask the employee, please show us how you take care of your PPE. Where do you store your PPE? Let us say you're talking about PPE which deals with your eyes. Are you cleaning it daily with mild soap and water? So friends, this is the introductory concept with respect to significance and relevance of personal protective equipment. These are the references for your kind perusal, and in the subsequent class, that's from tomorrow onwards, we shall be trying to understand the various types of personal protective equipments. Let's say with respect to protection of your head, eyes, face, skin, legs, in other words foot, your hand, your palm, okay, and so forth. So I thank you for your kind attention, and now the forum is open for any queries or any discussion that we can have. Thank you.